Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. President Bola Tinubu departs Lagos for Europe in continuation of end-of-year break and ahead of official trip to Abu Dhabi. NPCL to proceed to next phase of Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project in 2026. And Central African Republic, Guinea and Kosovo vote. President Bola Tinubu has departed Lagos for Europe in continuation of his end-of-year break and ahead of his official trip to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. The president took off from the Murtala Mohammed International Airport this Sunday afternoon. Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, stated that President of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, invited President Tinubu to participate in the 2026 edition of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit, which will take place in the Emirates in early January. The week-long summit is an annual event that mobilizes leaders from governments, business and society to chart the next era of sustainable development. With the theme, The Nexus of Next, All Systems Go, the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week is aimed at connecting ambition with action across innovation, finance, and people, showcasing how the world can move forward with confidence. The presidential advisor added that President Tinubu will return to the country after the summit. Meanwhile, the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited says it is now prepared to proceed to the next phase of the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project in 2026. The NMPCL Group Chief Executive Officer Bashir Ojulari says the next phase is to connect the main line of the project, which will supply gas to power industries in the northern parts of the country. He revealed this after briefing President Bola Tinubu in Lagos on the end-of-year performance and strategic priorities for 2026. Ojulari said through the inspiration and support of the President, the NNPCL has recorded improvements in crude oil production from 1.5 million barrels per day in 2024 to over 1.7 million barrels per day. The gas production is now over 7 million standard cubic feet per day, and improvements from the 6.5 million standard cubic feet per day recorded in 2024.
We've been able to successfully complete the welding of the main line of the AKK. You remember sometimes in summer we were able to cross the River Niger, which has been a struggle for many years. By completing this main line, what that means now is that we can begin to connect, make all the connections to the main line, which we will do in the earlier parts of next year. And why that is very important is that that brings gas in its full form into the northern part of Nigeria. We're looking at Kaduna, Kano, and also, of course, Ajaokuta and Abuja, where we begin to see industrialization, we begin to see industrial park taking gas for gas-based industry, fertilizer plants, as well as generating power. So those are some of the achievements we've achieved this year. I think for next year, I think the conversations in terms of our key priorities, the most important part again is to focus on increasing production. When we say increasing production, it sounds simple, but there's a lot that goes into it. It means attracting the right investment to increase production, whether it's oil or gas. And next year, we're hoping to, achieve at least 1.8 million barrels, per day. Again, stepping up from where we are this year in terms of oil production, as well as further increase in terms of gas production as well.
The president reiterated his expectation to improve oil production to 2 million barrels per day by 2027. Minister of Finance Wale Edun has moved to calm investor concerns following a high-profile joint security operation by Nigerian and U.S. forces in Sokoto State on Christmas Day, emphasizing that the action targets terrorism rather than signaling internal conflict or instability. In a statement, the minister described Nigeria as firmly on the path of peace, stability and economic progress. He addressed recent inquiries sparked by the targeted strikes against Islamic State-linked militants, clarifying that the country is not at war with itself nor with any nation. He highlighted the inseparable link between security and economic stability, describing every effort to safeguard citizens as inherently pro-growth and pro-investment. Under President Bola Tinubu's leadership, Edun pointed to measurable advancements in both security and economic reforms. He said the country's economy recorded 3.98% growth, GDP growth in the third quarter of 2025, following a robust 4.23% expansion in the second quarter, and expects a stronger performance in the final quarter of the year. Financial markets have shown resilience, with domestic and international debt markets remaining stable and efficient, supported by prudent fiscal management. As markets reopen on Monday, 29 December, Edun urges investors to remain confident and reaffirmed that Nigeria remains open for business, anchored on peace and firmly focused on the future. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga has reaffirmed Nigeria's support for Somalia's sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity. Tuga, in a statement, urged all regional and international actors to respect Somalia's sovereignty by recognizing its federal government as the legitimate authority. He stated that the Nigerian government condemned any action that undermines this principle and warned that recognizing any part of Somalia as an independent entity can escalate tensions in the region. Nigeria commended the Somali government's continued efforts to achieve peace, security and national reconciliation amidst significant challenges, and reaffirmed the resolve to support Somalia in line with the positions of the United Nations and the African Union in rebuilding a stable, prosperous and resilient nation. And in Guinea, approximately 6.7 million voters are called to the polls to elect their new president of the republic. A delegation of ECOWAS observers led by Abdoulaye Jane, head of the organization's observation mission, visited several polling stations and offices located in the municipalities of Kaloum, Dixin and Boulbine in Conakry to witness the effective starts of operations. A second ECOWAS delegation led by Senator Lawan Gana Guba, deputy head of the ECOWAS EOM, visited some other polling stations in the municipalities. Speaking to the press after these visits, Jane emphasized the importance of the crucial step towards a return to constitutional and democratic order in the country and expressed his hope that the vote would take place in favorable conditions. Meanwhile, voters in Guinea, Central African Republic and Kosovo have cast their ballots for a new leader, while polls closed in the first round of Myanmar's junta-run elections. Details with Safia Noma Uche.
Ghanaians voted in the presidential election with Mamadi Damboa, a general who seized power 4 years ago. Damboa reneged on the pledge not to stand for office and to hand the West African country back to civilian rule by the end of 2024. Since seizing power in 2021, Damboa has cracked down on civil liberties. Protests have been banned while opponents have been arrested. Escorted by dozens of special forces personnel, the junta chief voted with his wife in the central district of the capital city. Similarly, voters in the Central African Republic cast their ballot for a new president, with incumbent Faustin Archange Teodora widely expected to win a third time after flaunting his success in steadying a nation long plagued by conflict. Around 2.3 million people were eligible to vote, with parliamentary, municipal and regional polls taking place at the same time. Meanwhile, voters in Kosovo also held a snap parliamentary elections, hoping to end 10 months of political deadlock caused by a hung parliament in February elections. And polls closed in the first round of Myanmar's junta-run elections. ending the opening phase of a month-long vote, which democracy watchdogs described as a ploy to rebrand military rule. Former civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi remains jailed with her Popular Party dissolved. Campaigners, Western diplomats, and the United Nations rights chief have all condemned the phase-month-long vote, citing a ballot stacked with military allies and a stark crackdown on dissent. The pro-military Union Solidarity and Development Party is widely expected to emerge as the largest bloc in what critics say will be a rebranding of martial rule in Kosovo. Sophia Noma Uche, NTA News.
Let's shift focus to agriculture now. Nigeria remains Africa's largest producer of palm kernel and its byproducts, and is among the top 5 producers in the world. Despite the many challenges in production and processing, rural communities in the southern parts of the country are earning a living through value addition of palm kernel products. Musa Baba Aliu, who visited several communities in the south-south and southeast regions, reports that some farmers are benefiting from the federal government's intervention under the Renewed Hope initiative.
In the lush southern parts of Nigeria, palm trees stand tall as timeless guardians. They create a beautiful landscape that touches both the eyes and the heart. From the coastal areas of the Niger Delta to the rolling hills in the southeast, palm trees have long been a major source of income for local communities. Every part of the palm tree, from the fruit to the kernel and the shell, has economic value. It benefits not only the people, but the whole country. Favor Christopher, a mother of 7 and a widow, is one of thousands of women making a living this way in Akwa Ibom State, south of the country. She and other traders do not focus on palm oil. Instead, they work with the kernel, the shell, and the seeds inside. After the oil is extracted, they dry the kernels, bring them to places like this, crack them open, and remove the seeds.
Like if I buy like 10 bag of the kernel, if I finish doing like 20K on top would be my gain.
The seeds are used to make oil, which is a raw material for cosmetics. The shell are used to manufacture brake pads for vehicle, among other products.
By the time we get the seed, we put it in a bag and we weigh it. It will give us how many pounds. Whatever pounds we get from it, we calculate it from there and sell it and get our money. And then the people that buys it equally takes it to go and process it and get the oil from the palm kernel, and where we equally have the shaft that we are selling to those who are doing industrial production of brake pads.
This woman, along with many others across the Niger Delta, are now benefiting from the federal government program called FG IFAD Support, part of the Life ND project. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, said this intervention in the Niger Delta has created 23,751 new jobs. This includes 12,526 jobs for women, helping to promote gender equality and boost the rural economy. From Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Minister of State for Works Mohammed Bello Goronyo has described infrastructure development as a critical catalyst for expanding horizons and an enabler of commerce, education, healthcare, security and social integration. At a public function in Sokoto State that brought together professionals, Goronyo emphasized that Nigeria's development journey depends largely on how effectively professionals translate knowledge into solutions and individuals' success into collective impact. He explained that Nigeria needs a network of professionals both at home and abroad to achieve implementation of the development roadmap of the current administration. He also assures Nigerians that President Tinubu is committed to completing the 4 legacy road projects, including the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway.
Kwara, Oyo, and Lagos.
This is the news on NTA International. Welcome back. Now, a notorious drug trafficker previously convicted in 2023 has been arrested alongside 3 cargo agents with 75 parcels of cocaine hidden in cold water starch sachets bound for the UK at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports.
Investigations reveal that the 37-year-old ex-convict is the mastermind behind the shipment involving a male and 2 female cargo agents. He was arrested in a follow-up operation at a popular relaxation center in Ikeja, where he went on a date with his girlfriend. The agency's criminal database revealed that he had been arrested in May 2023 in connection with the seizure of 30.10 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed in powdered custard containers as part of a consolidated cargo going to London. He was subsequently arraigned at a federal high court, where he was convicted and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment with an option of a fine of 7 million naira. He paid the fine and soon afterward returned to the same crime. In another successful operation, NDLEA operatives set ablaze tons of skunk, a strain of cannabis, in a wooden warehouse in Ara Forest, Ara Ekiti, where 638 kilograms of the same psychoactive substance were also recovered. No fewer than 1,205 blocks of compressed cannabis sativa were recovered from 3 Toyota Camry vehicles intercepted by NDLEA operatives on patrol along Igara-Auchi Road, Edo State. In Cross River State, raid operations conducted at Igo Ibami Community, Yakuru local government area, led to the arrest of 3 suspects and seizure of various quantities of skunk. In another operation, a 42-year-old lady was arrested with 38 kilograms of skunk by NDLEA operatives on patrol along Abuja Expressway on her way from Edo State. NDLEA operatives in Lagos arrested a female suspect with 45.5 kilograms of skunk on Christmas Day along Badagry Expressway. In Gombe State, a 65-year-old driver was arrested while conveying 300 ampoules of pentazocine injection and 27,900 pills of tramadol and other opioids along the Gombe-Biu Highway heading to Biu in Borno State. Meanwhile, a 47-year-old businessman wanted in connection with the seizure of 56 parcels of loud at Tinkan Seaport in Lagos has been arrested by NDLEA operatives. The illicit drug consignment was seized on 10th December during a joint examination of a container by NDLEA, Customs and other security agencies. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu has told soldiers at Nkwegu military cantonment to redirect or rededicate themselves to the ideals of unity, discipline and professionalism in the discharge of their constitutional responsibility of defending the territorial integrity of the nation. The Chief of Army Staff gave the charge during a luncheon organized for soldiers and other security operatives in Ebonyi State. Ijoma Peter Nwante reports.
The Chief of Army Staff festive luncheon, which took place at the Nkwegu Military Cantonment, Abakaliki Formation Base in Ikwo Local Government Area of Ebonyi State, is one of those measures to pat them on the back and to re-strategize towards achieving the aim of Operation Udoka in the southeast. The Chief of Army Staff, represented by Major General Gagariga, expressed gratitude to the officers and soldiers for their unwavering commitment in addressing Nigeria's security challenges and urged them to remain focused and loyal to constituted authority.
Our deepest gratitude to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, for his unwavering confidence, strategic leadership, and consistent support to the Nigerian Army, which has significantly bolstered our operational readiness and morale.
With the country still experiencing security challenges, the soldiers were encouraged to remain focused and avoid distractions from any quarter.
Your efforts in Operation Doka continue to speak volumes, not through noise, but through your results.
The symbolic serving of meals to troops in the field has become an annual ritual to strengthen their bond and commitment, especially during the Yuletide. In Abakaliki, Ijoma Pitawante, NTA News.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Schell says his team remains focused and ambitious despite already securing a place in the last 16 of the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco. For details of this and other sports stories, let's join Suleiman Musa on Sports Update.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Schell has expressed satisfaction with his players' confidence and performances so far at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, while stressing that there is still room for improvement.
We improve at every game. So the first game was good, not bad. We won. The second game we improved. But we did some good things too and bad things too. So we have to continue to improve at every game.
Nigeria have recorded 2 wins from 2 matches to secure an early place in the last 16 as the Super Eagles now aim for a perfect group stage record when they face Uganda on Thursday. Meanwhile, following Saturday's thrilling 3-2 victory over Tunisia in Fez, coming on the back of a 2-1 opening win against Tanzania, Nigeria Football Federation President Ibrahim Gusau has congratulated the Super Eagles and Nigerians for their display of skills, unity and determination. Gusau also assured that the Super Eagles are heading into the knockout stages of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations with the full support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Nigerian Football Federation. To boxing, Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue produced a masterclass to outpoint Alan David Picasso and retain his undisputed super bantamweight title in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Widely regarded as one of boxing's top pound-to-pound fighters, the 32-year-old Inoue displayed superb ring intelligence, blistering hand speed and sharp combinations over 12 dominant rounds. The 25-year-old Picasso was unable to cope with Inoue's pace and body attacks as the judges returned scores of 119 to 109, 120 to 108, and 117 to 111 in favor of the champion. With Sport Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
Morocco has experienced stormy weather conditions over the weekend due to low pressure, accompanied by cold air masses in the upper layers of the atmosphere, resulting in strong winds and heavy rainfall. This led to unsettled weather across most regions of the kingdom, with significant rainfall recorded. In the city of Tangier, about 262 millimeters of rain were measured, followed by Larache, with around 213 millimeters, and Chefchaouen with up to 211 millimeters. In other areas, rainfall amounts ranged from 85 millimeters in Ifrane, 65 millimeters in Rabat Saleh, 40 millimeters in Safi, 19 millimeters in Taroudant, 37 millimeters in Essa Warira, 37 millimeters in El Jadida, 59 millimeters in Fez, and 16 millimeters in Agadir. These figures reflect the abundance and beneficial rainfall the country has received. The recent rains have contributed to a noticeable rise in dam water levels, especially in northern regions, and is expected to improve agricultural conditions and recharge groundwater across the kingdom. And up next is Monday's weather prospects for Nigeria and major cities around the world. That concludes the news on NTA International. Thank you for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.